What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to talk about my regionals experience and how great slash not great I did. And sorry if you can hear my dog. He's over there scratching himself. Hopefully it's not too loud. I don't think you can hear him. Hold on. Alright, it's not popping on the microphone when I'm not talking. So before we go into this, I want to give a big shout out to Brad Curcio, however you want to say his last name. He's actually the one who gave me the list. Him, Brandon Cantu, I think made it up. And supposedly Mike Canavis also made it up. Canavis made the list. I think Canavis was the first one to make it. I'm not really sure the origin of it. I can't be 100. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know where the list came from. It either was from Brandon Cantu, Brad Curcio, or Mike Canavis. But I know Canavis and Cantu did play a deck like this. I know their counts were a little bit different. They changed a couple cards. I know Canavis actually played a Garbodor to help out in some matchups. I'm not really sure what matchups are, but before the tournament, I was definitely like contemplating playing like Sableye Garbodor. Like that was my go-to deck, and everybody was like, "No, Squeaky, don't play it. Like you're gonna go to time, you're gonna lose game 1, game 2, blah blah blah." I shouldn't have listened to them because I don't know. I still regret not playing that deck for regionals. I don't know. It seemed like a really fun deck, and I was just going to play the list that I showed a couple weeks ago, the Dylan Dryers list. I mean, it seemed pretty fantastic, and I know somebody did make top 4 with it, and I got an interview with him. It was a senior, if I remember correctly. His interview should go up either tomorrow, which is Friday. So today when I'm recording this is Thursday. So either Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure. It depends on how many videos I have coming out. There's a lot of videos scheduled right now, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but hopefully it's a good thing here. But so you know, Friday night I'm testing Blastoise, Theory Monon about Evital. I play Blastoise against like Evital, and I just get like destroyed over and over again. I don't know if it's because I'm a bad Blastoise player, which I don't think should be true because I did win a Cities with Blastoise. I don't know if that really means anything or not. So I was like, no, never mind. We're not playing Blastoise, and I don't want to think 9 rounds of had Archie's turn 1, but just, I don't know. It's not a lot of fun to me. And then Brad comes down about 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like, yo, Squeaks, I got a deck for you. And I was like, what is it? He's like, Tool Drop. I'm like, man, that deck is garbage. Like, why would I play Tool Drop? And he's like, nah, it's really, really good. And he's like, it beats Toad and everything. And I was like, okay. And as you see here, there's probably some interesting cards here that you're probably wondering about. The first thing is Mew EX. Now, Mew is actually really, really good because you can just copy so many different attacks in the game right now with Versatile. And with this, you can actually copy some Trubbish Tool Drop, and that way you don't have a 70 HP Pokemon just sitting in the active spot, just getting knocked out over and over again. But the main thing you want to do here is use Shuppet. It has the attack called Bleh. That's an attack name. There were several of my opponents thinking like, alright, when's Baynet coming out? And the whole time I'm like, I don't play Baynet, we're just going to use Bleh. Or they'll see me discard and like think, like, oh, maybe he's going to discard a Baynet. But Bleh, you know, discard a special energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Not from the active, from anywhere. Like on the bench, from the active. And this actually helps you beat like Cystoad Giratina, which is probably the deck's worst matchup. Now, one thing that it could probably lose to is if your opponent plays, like, a laser to try to put your Mew to sleep, so that way you can't use, you know, Bleh. Well, if you attach it to Sparkling Rogue turn 1, it says the Pokemon this card is attached to can't be affected by any special conditions. So now it can't be lasered, or lasers don't affect it, which is great here. So they have to, like, Xerosic your Sparkling Robe off, or play, like, a Tool Scrapper, or even, like, a Megaphone. But who plays Megaphone besides Pram? Besides Michael Pramwatt. Now, if you don't know, the whole point of Trubbish here is a Tool Drop. You do 20 damage for each Pokemon tool attached to Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. So once there's like 9 tools in play, that's straight up 180. 6 with the Silver Bangle is no, it's 7. Oh, what am I thinking? Where am I going here? 7 with a Silver Bangle is 170. 8 with the Silver Bangle is 190, and you might be thinking that's not very. That's pretty hard. But if you have 5 Pokemon on the bench, 1 on the active. That's 6 right there. And you play Headringers as well to attach to your opponent's EX Pokemon. And you can easily hit those numbers. It's not hard at all. And also, you do play 1 Sigilyph. And yes, it is 1 Sigilyph. There are so many people like, what, do you only play 1 Sigilyph? But the thing here, if you have a Sigilyph with 4 tools, and 4 of the bench Pokemon, and each of those have 4 tools, that's 8 right there. You're already hitting 160, and 1 of the active, that's 9? Yeah, like, that's, wait, huh? Yeah, that's 9, that's 180, there we go. Which knocks out the majority of the X's here. So you literally only need 1 Sigilyph. And of course you play the Shamans to help set up here. Now, there's some other cards here. Life Dew, your opponent takes 1 less prize card. This means they have to take maybe 7 prizes if you're only attacking with Trubbish. 1 Bianca, I'm not really a fan of this. There's a lot of people telling me cut it for another Colress or maybe a second Sigilyph just in case 1 is prized here. And I definitely, I wanted a second Eco Arm all day. It's shuffle 3 Pokemon tools from your discard pile into your deck. And I wanted another Super Rod just in case, early game, you discard your Eco Arm or Super Rod. You have to kind of reuse them. If I were to play this deck again, I would probably cut the Life Dew for a Dowsing Machine, which seems really weird. But if you draw to the Dowsing Machine late game, there's so many cards you can draw into, like the Eco Arm, the Super Rod. Maybe you need that crucial tool at that moment, which, I mean, it could be a Life Dew, but you can just get it back that way. And the rest of the list is pretty, standard or pretty straightforward. You can probably do pretty, you figure out yourself. All the tools are pretty, standard now. You should know what they all do. Silverbring can only be attached to non-EX Pokemon, and they do 30 more damage. Now, so we went over the deck. We went over what happened. Or how to pick the deck, and let's go over the matches here. I took pictures. Oh, what's going on here? My phone's messing up. What? No, not by years. Hold on a second. What's going on here? Okay. So I took the screenshot of all the things here. So round 1 we're playing against Zach Garst. Turns out he watches the channel, so thank you, Zach, for watching the channel. He's actually playing Blastoise. Game 1. I'm pretty sure Game 1 and Game 2 he got a turn 1 Archies, if I remember correctly. If not a turn 1 Archies, definitely a turn 2. But both these games, I have a horrible setup here. Game 1, I think I take a couple prizes, maybe. But the problem here is I don't have any more Trubbishes left. They all get knocked out. And I discard my Super Rod early, so I don't have any more attackers, and I scoop. I don't have any more attackers, so I just scoop. Game 2, I draw pass and lose. Okay, so starting game 1 here. Game 2, round 2, we're playing against Trevor Cochran. I'm pretty sure he was playing this amazing deck. It was Ray Eels, the deck we just did Thursday, Ray Eels. But he played Mega Rayquaza, the colorless one. They did 30 for each Pokemon on the bench. I can't remember if he played the gold one or not, but the gold one is actually really good. The one where you evolve and you heal all the damage off your Pokemon, it's actually a really good card. A lot of people thought it was bad, but it's coming. I've seen a lot of games of people playing that, and they just evolve, heal 160 damage or whatever, and now they get this fresh new Rayquaza with 220 HP, and it's ready to go. I mean, you do well, you don't have to end your turn actually if you have a Spirit Link already and it hasn't been a turn. So I mean, that's a really cool idea. But he also played Electros. Now, Electros lets you move any energies from your bench up to your active Pokemon. So what you could do is cycle between Rayquazas and just move the energies up, and it was really hard. Not only am I trying to hit for 200 plus on the Rayquaza, I'm trying to I have to damage multiple Rayquazas because I can't knock it out, and he's just constantly keeping energy on board. And even if I did knock something out, he had the Eels ready to go. So man, it was just a hard game, and I got 2-0 there pretty easily if I remember correctly. So we're starting off 0-2. That's very great. Round 3, we're playing against Evan Snyder. I think that's how you say his name here. Now, Evan was playing Regice, Articuno, Kirmy X, the one with Glaciate. There's just a bunch of random water Pokemon, and we 2-0 him. Not really nothing to talk about there. Pretty easy game. Next up, it's Matthew Williams here. Now, big shout out to Matthew. He was an amazing opponent here. So, of course, you're gonna find out why in a second. So, it turns out he's playing Seismitoad Giratina. Now, it has been a couple days, and I can't really remember the matchup so much. But I know game one, I win pretty easily. You just like I said, you put a Mew in the active, attach a Sparkling Row, and you bleh, 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 bleh. They run out of energies, and you win. Like, that's pretty much how you win the game there. Game two, I have to Juniper all my Juniper ways. No, okay, no. What happened? Okay, I remember what happened. So I Juniper, discard 3 Junipers, but early game, when I'm putting on my prizes, I accidentally flip over one of the cards, and we see it's a Juniper. I think that was the game this happened. So we see that I accidentally prized a Juniper. We shuffle my prizes up with no big deal. We just both know Juniper's prize. But like turn one, I Juniper like all my Junipers away. And so now I'm in a bad situation because now if you see here, we only play 2 in. Oh, sorry about that. We have 2 in, 2 Lysander, 2 Colors, and 1 Bianca. So now we only have to draw into the 2 in, 2 Colors, or 1 Bianca because we can't play Verse Seekers. So that's great. We have a really hard time setting up game two. So he beats me game two. Game three, it looks like I was going to win. I can't remember this much. I think we had the Mew going. I think we had like the Bled going. I think we were going places. At times called. Now, so I'm ready to like circle a tie here. You know, it's all fair. But actually, what is it? Matthew, he actually gave me the win. He said, "Man, you were such a nice opponent. You had like board state. I think I think he said I had board state like game like was gonna win a couple of turns. So he like gave me the win. So that was very nice of Matthew. So big shout out to Matthew for doing that. A lot of people wouldn't do that. They would just take that tie and go with it. But he was a very nice opponent. Something happened with his like Sun's deck the round before. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I don't want to go too much about it either. It's something with the judges and stuff like that. So he was already worried about his son, and he was more concerned about him than him. I think himself. You know, people always put their kids above them first, which is great. That's fantastic. So I know he was worried about that. So we get a win there. So now we're 2-2. So we're slowly climbing. Round through playing against Coat Strike. I think that's how you say his name. And turns out he mulligans. And he shows me the Silgor. And then he mulligans again and shows me Trevenant. And I'm like, oh, Trevenant and Silgor. What do you do here? This is such a bad matchup. Like, how do you beat this deck with Tool Drop? Like, the whole point of the deck is you're playing item cards. You're supposed to put down a bunch of tools, and how do you do that? They have a turn with Trevenant here. So Canavis is sitting like right like eyesight. I'm like, Canavis, how do I beat Tool Drop? I mean, Trevenant Silgor, and he's like, man, do you play Garbodor? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, you're gonna lose. But luckily, game one, we just donk him. Like, he doesn't get anything. I think we like donk into Silgor, like turn 2 or turn 1. Game 2, he does get the turn with Trevenant. I'm like, oh man, what do we do here? But I hatched an idea in my brain, which doesn't happen that often. So he puts down a Shaman and draws, and he's playing through his stuff, and I'm like, man, what if we like lice into that Shaman, attach a Headringer to it, and make it where he can't like Sky Return, he has to waste DCs to retreat. I was like, alright, let's go for it. So I lice into a Shaman, Headringer, and pass. Like, we don't go for a knockout, we just leave in the axe spot here. So he goes and he attaches a DC to the active, and he realizes like, oh, I can't Sky Return. But he has like a deck and cover next turn, and he knows that a Verse Seeker for another Lysander. So I'm constantly like, every time like I have a Verse Seeker, I'm to make sure I get Lysander so they're ready in my hand. It's like a Lysander for Shaman. He's like, oh, I just need to keep this in the active spot, so that way like next turn I can retreat, deck and cover, take a knockout. What he doesn't know is what Shuppet does. So that turn, I draw a card and I bled. And he's like, what's that do? And I show him the card, and he's like, oh, discard special energy, that's fine. So he discards it. Next turn, he attaches a DCE to the bench of Silgor, and he passes. And that's when I bled again. And that's when he realizes, like, oh, that's from anywhere. Like, no, not is it from, like, only the active, it's from the bench as well. So, discards that energy. At this point, he has 2 left. He has to commit a DC to the active to retreat it, and then put another DC on the Silgor. But he realizes as soon as he retreats the, like, a Shaman, he's going to lose because he's going to retreat the Shaman and then bring up like maybe next turn deck and cover. But I have I have 3 Lysanders in my hand, so he ends up just scooping because what happens? I just draw a pass, and I probably play like maybe 5 to 6 cards in my deck, and he's played like 20 to 30. So he's going to deck out before me. So he scoops. That game was probably over like 10 minutes. That was ridiculous, and that's how he beat Trevenant Selgor. Next up is let me look at his name real quick. Leo Valley. Oh man, Leo. I don't know how to say your last name here, but so Leo is playing the Sidestone Giratina deck. I don't remember this much really. I mean, Seismic Giratina is just like I said, you just Mew and you bled them over and over again. I don't know if it's 2-0 or if it's 2-1 or this is where stuff gets fuzzy here. Because at this point, I'm like starting to get sick, or like I'm starting to get tired. I'm starting not to feel good. I know y'all don't know this, but I got sick. Like when I got back Monday night, I got really sick, and that's why if you watch my videos from like Wednesday or Tuesday, you see my you can hear my voice. It sounds really different. So I'm starting not to feel good. I'm starting to feel really tired. Not even like much thinking about Pokemon. Like we're just whatever. So Shuppet, Mew, Bleh eventually wins this game here. So we just beat Toad Giratina. So round 7, we're playing against Tyler McCuchan. Turns out he's playing Manectric. Now Manetric's probably a good matchup. Because they have to attach like the tools onto the Manectrics there. So they're already committing a tool for us. We have the other Hellringers attached to their bench Mews or the Shamans. So we're ready to go here. But it turns out that Tyler doesn't have any Junipers. Supposedly there was a deck error on his sheet, and they took his Junipers out. I don't know if he just wrote Juniper or not Professor Juniper, or I'm not really sure what happened. So we 2 him pretty easily. I'm sorry about that. Like, it's one of the things in Pokemon you always have to look for. Like, make sure you always write everything correctly out. Because if you just write Juniper, they're going to be like, well, you're playing Cedric Juniper or Professor Juniper. So it's always something you all have to watch out for. So right now, what are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're 5-2. So we were 0-2. But now we're 5-2. The dream is alive. All we have to do is win one more and tie, and we are in top 32. So round 7, or round 8, this is like probably the most crucial match here. And it's sadly the one I can't even remember. So we're playing against James Zimmerman. And I've seen him before. If I remember correctly, he is a Worlds qualifier. I'm not sure if it's been a couple years or not. I've definitely seen him around like multiple times here. So James, we're playing, and he's playing another Sidestone Giratina. So my third one, we were supposedly tied 1, we beat 1, and now we're playing another one here. So game 1, I take the victory. Game 2, he starts kind of changing how he plays the deck. He's actually using Shaman to just like Sky Return over and over again and take knockouts that way. And so I end up losing 2 matches. And the funny thing is all my friends can even like agree to this. After this match, like my friends like, okay, what happened? I'm like, oh, I played against Toad Giratina. Like, oh, you won. Like, that's great. And I'm like, no, I lost. And they're like, well, how did you lose? And I'm like, I don't know. They're like, what do you mean I don't know? Like, I was like, I don't know. Like, literally that game was a blur. Like, that's when like tiredness and like sickness was hitting. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what was happening. Like, I literally like won game 1 and during game 2 to game 3, like I spaced out and I don't know what happened and I lost. Like, I don't know. Like, I literally don't know this matches at all. Hopefully, if James ever sees this video, he can comment down below and maybe he can recall what happened. I know it's been a couple days and he played in day 2, so congrats to James making day 2. But I literally don't know what happened. I apologize for that. So round 9, we're playing for top 64 now. We're playing against John Gariski. Another person who watched the channel, so big shout out to John. He's actually from Arkansas, which is the state border of mine, very close to me. So he's playing Metal, but he's playing Cobalions and Kling Kling. So game 1, I think I win. It's either game 1 or game 2 I win. I know that for sure. And game 3 he wins. He did play like Tool Scrappers and like with the metal resistance and me like kind of like being out of it, like not really knowing what's going on. I get 2-1 there, and now I'm what 5-4. So started 0-2, finished 5-4. So we were trying so hard. We had to climbed all the way to 5-4, and the last two rounds I just can't even remember. I just don't know if the 9 rounds got to me, if it was a 10-hour drive the next day, not sleeping for very long, trying to decide what deck to play, and decided to play Tool Drop. But it was a very fun deck, just using Tool Drop and Blah. I think I Blah more than I did Tool Drop. Like, that's kind of weird to say, but I definitely think I Blah more than Tool Drop. So, like, Mew shuffled by itself is probably a great deck. Maybe Tool Drop's not its best partner. It's going to be interesting to see if someone else can partner the Mew Shuppet combo with something else here. But that's my story about regionals. I did meet a lot of y'all, and that was that was probably like the most exciting part for me. There were so many people that came up to me and was like, "Hey, let's take a picture. Hey man, I love your channel. Thanks for everything you do," and like signing mats and signing cards. And I had a fantastic time just meeting everybody. That was my favorite part of for sure. Now, we did overall I did pretty bad. Like, I would say I did pretty bad. Like 5-4. Some people would be excited for that. Like, yes, pumped up. I went positive. But I don't know, it's kind of just a letdown for me. Like, I expected to do great at regionals, but kind of bombed. And this is the only regionals I can attend for the fall. So sorry about that. Didn't have such a great performance. But hopefully in the winter regionals in St. Louis, I'll have a better performance. Maybe I'll fly out to Florida like I did last year. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it's pretty long about me just talking about like regionals, just rambling on, but you can kind of see all the matches I played against, see how the matches went, even though I kind of like forgot some of them. It's been like almost a week now, and I've been sick, so that didn't help at all for me remembering stuff. But I mean, Tool Drop is definitely a fun deck. Shout out once again to Brad, Brandon, and Canavis for hooking me up with the list. It was very solid. I know Brandon was like, "Don't share it," and Brad was like, "No, share. Like, you're not going to any more regionals, Brandon. Let people play Tool Drop." So that's why we're sharing the list here. But hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. If you have subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hope you have an awesome Friday. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, peace.